Hi, I'm Dr. Melissa Shapiro, veterinarian of the Visiting Vet Service. This is Evie. She is a 6-year-old rescued poodle mix from a kill shelter in California. We're here to talk to you about keeping your dogs and cats safe during this very, very hot weather. The first and most important, I think, complication of summer heat is that dogs do not sweat like people do, so they have a much more difficult time controlling their body temperature, and many are at risk of hyperthermia, which is increased temperature. Dogs in cars are at a special risk, even if you're in the car with them. When we're traveling with our dogs, we have to take special precautions and compromise our eating out, which we need to stop for lunch. Someone's got to stay in the car with the dogs. With the air conditioning on, parking in the shade is usually not good enough in 100-degree weather. Sometimes dogs get left in the car after going to the park and can be forgotten. I usually do a head count. I watch as they walk in, and I make a mental note that everyone is now safely into the house, because if a dog gets left in the car, especially in the summertime, that dog is going to overheat very, very quickly. There are a number of breeds and dogs that are at high risk. Brachycephalic dogs, the pushed-in nose dogs like pugs, French bulldogs, bulldogs, Boston terriers, those breeds that have very pushed-in face are already compromised in normal temperatures, and when they heat up, it doesn't take long for them to collapse and potentially become hyperthermic and die. Laryngeal paralysis dogs, there are golden retrievers, labs, some of the bigger breeds have a higher incidence, especially as they get older, of paralysis of their larynx. So as the temperatures go up, they have more and more trouble breathing, and those dogs also will succumb sooner than a healthy dog. Senior dogs, dogs that are sick, those dogs also need to have special care when it's hot. So the best way to keep dogs safe in the summer is to keep them inside in air conditioning. If they're outside exercising, that needs to be monitored. They can't run till they drop. They have to be cut off before they get to that point. There are kiddie pools, cooling blankets, and other products that are helpful to keep dogs cool in the summer if they're outdoors. Taking dogs for walks is another danger spot. Walking on pavement in the midday sun is very dangerous because pavement heats up. Little foot pads will burn. So while these foot pads are very, very protective and made to endure all sorts of rocks and surfaces, they aren't equipped to withstand high temperature pavement, and they will burn. They will actually rub them raw to bleeding tissue, and that is very painful and very dangerous for the dog. So I usually recommend walking early in the day or late, and to check the pavement with your hand. If it's hot to you, it's going to be hot to the dog's feet. Dogs will get sunburn, although a dog like this who's very hairy is not at a high risk. Other dogs that are shorter hair, they have less hair on their face. Hairless breeds should not be out in the sun, obviously. There are sunscreens for dogs, but they're few and far between to find that are approved for dogs. And usually you're just spot checking the nose and the ears, so you're not going to catch the whole rest of the dog. Signs of heat stroke and hyperthermia are panting excessively, collapse, seizures, and sometimes dogs will succumb and die. Hopefully your dog never gets to that point, but if you notice that they're really, really having trouble in the heat, bring them in, contact your emergency vet to get them in to be cooled off. Sometimes if they have exposure to excessive heat, their kidneys will fail and they will have all sorts of other medical problems that need to be treated in an emergency clinic.